Welcome. Alright, everybody. So anybody that plays Farming Simulator 19 already knows that there was a huge DLC came out, the Straw Harvest add-on. Now, while I've seen a lot of videos on every bit of the machinery and all the little bits and pieces of it, I haven't seen any videos yet on how people set up their stuff completely, a fully working system, the most ergonomic way I've found so far. So here is how I do things on the new Straw Harvest DLC, as compact as I can get it. So to start off, I use the bale shredder. Bale shredder is wonderful. Make sure that you have your extensions all the way out, because that can cause problems, because we all know, people who have played this so far and used the bale shredder, that things can get a little jumpy. So I use that. I use the larger size bales, the 4,000 liter barrels, and I store them in here. I don't have any in here at the moment, but I store them in here. Then the crane can come over and grab them. I load them on here, and I have the crane positioned with the next one sitting out on here for the next one to clear enough space. I have this out far enough because this trailer fits in here well enough so that I can get as many on here as I can, because surprisingly enough, even though how slow that the palletizer goes, everything goes fast enough to where it keeps me fairly busy. So what I've hooked up over here is, this is a mod right here, and so are these two augers. So the auger mod and the, let's see here, it is under auger wagons, even though it's technically a tipper, but it's also an auger wagon. The Uber Lotto wagon. I use that one to dump into here. Then I have two augers, one running into here, and then one running into here for overflow reasons. So if that becomes full from that auger and this, then this begins to fill into here until that is full, and then it fills up this clear full. So far I've not been able to do that clear full yet, and usually I just dump it whenever this becomes clear full, unless all my vats are clear empty, which usually they're not. So then I have this sitting in here, and then I use the crane to move these over, because maneuvering around this is not very fun. Take the crane over here. I figured out that double stacking these is not very well, it doesn't work very well, because I use the big bag, let's see here, it is under skid loaders, the CZS pack, I believe it is, or CSZ pack, and I use the big bag handler on it, because this is so much easier than trying to stick forks into stuff all the time. Just line it up close to where it is. Here, I will hop in here and show you guys really quickly. You can come from any side. For instance, I will line it up a little ways off, so that is not directly on it. I want to get away from other pallets, but you tighten your tension belts, and I am way off of this thing, but as soon as I lift up on it, it's extremely maneuverable. I mean, defies physics almost, and makes it so much easier. Way easier to load onto a trailer, no glitchiness, it just loads on there nice and easy. And with the skid loader, it is so much more maneuverable in these tight spaces and everything. And if I get too many of them, I store them back here. Sometimes it becomes a pain to, whenever you drop them out of the crane, that it will sometimes catch and flip it over. So what I do, and this is where the big bag handler comes in handy, because it does happen fairly often, unfortunately. Come in here, and once it locks in, it locks in. So I just pick it up like this, come out to an open space, Then I adjust this to where it's rotated. Drop it. Come back. Grab it again. Rotate it. Drop it again. Right side up. Otherwise, it is a very huge pain to sit there and try and tip it over with the crane and manipulate it. And being on console, it is a lot harder to do so, whereas on PC, you can easily get a mod that makes handling these by hand, you know, lifting heavy objects and everything. And then after I get all the pallets out, I put them on a low loader. See this specific low loader all the way at the end, the trailer DO24. It works pretty well because currently the cell station for these pellets is a little bit glitched out because it is slightly up off of the ground, and that makes it difficult. So I found the best trailer that works is this one, or if you just put your cell station, which I have mine off at another spot to create space because I'm on Outback, and I want to make the most of my space and allotment, I put it somewhere else. But if you have your cell point right in front, you can just take your loader out front and drive over it, and it works just as well. But this works much better as I'm also going to be storing and waiting for changes in the markets. So, and on to this. You can take your vehicle or tractor or whatever you're using to pull your wagon out of here. I just prefer to leave it there. It's easier to manipulate the trailer because sometimes when I exit the game and come back in, it needs reset. All the engines need started on all this again because these are technically like a vehicle. Like right now, the engine needs started, quote unquote. So if you exit out of your game, you do need to come in here and restart all the engines and turn on all the belts on them. Like so. And then the system will work. Sometimes you have to tip the tipper back down, but if you're in game and you really get a rhythm going, you want to make sure this is all on to make it work properly, because I believe these were all output in a very short amount of time. Yeah, because I was doing this for the setup, and you're going to want to keep this built near a silo because you will accumulate enough to use for it if you have animals and stuff of the sorts. But I will be doing more mod testing and showing people how I do things, because hats off to DJ Goham and Mr. Sealy P, because they really do a lot of mod showcasing, and it does help understanding things a lot. Like DJ Goham and Mr. Sealy P both did the 4-part series on all these, even though they probably only intended to do 3. They did explain a lot of questions that people had and everything, but I just didn't see a video yet on a setup that was more ergonomic. And again, a lot of people are saying that you want to just put these in stacks 4 high, you know, 1 stack, and then move another stack a little ways away for this. I found that if you drop the crane all the way down onto your bale and then lift it up a little bit and off to the side, the bale will auto-correct into the claw. So that way you can have tighter groups, like when you're using the auto bale pickup truck. You can back it right in, drop it off the side, pull right out, and you have a giant stack of bales. Or if you want to tightly stack them in the corner, you can. It works out really well. And again, trying to make the most out of the space in here and make it as compact as possible, because it's not really something you want to have a 2 of. You don't want to have 2 buildings of this going. It's kind of these. Then at that point, automation becomes a pain, and belts and all that. I try to keep it as simple and ergonomic as possible. Overall, the setup doesn't run up your slot count too much, except for the pelletizer. It is very, very worth it. I do not suggest using the small baler mod. Let's see here. It is this one. Finding out that you can drive over a pile of straw or hay. You can take a loader wagon or a milling machine mod and run it over and pick up in your fields a lot faster than you can dump it in a giant pile, say on a flat area that you have that's kind of clean and open, and you can take a tractor and drive over it and it will just jettison several bales out the back almost instantaneously. I do not suggest using the smaller bales because, one, they are kind of harder to work with, especially like the crane is godsend for helping out with the big bales. I do not suggest using a loader or anything of the sorts because it's harder to maneuver around if you're doing this all inside of the building, which is what I'm trying to accomplish. And using this small baler will, if you drive through a giant pile, which is basically a whole trailer load, if you drive through a whole pile, it will jettison 50 bales in the matter of seconds. Unless you're trying to hand load everything, which that is the only bonus, is you can kind of hand load things. They're a lot lighter and easier to deal with if you have bales falling off of stuff, because again, the bale shredder tracks on here, they are a little bit glitchy. I'm assuming that will be fixed in a newer update, but the problem being is they catch up right about here. So if you don't have them pretty well centered, it gets pretty easy with the crane. Just take your time on it and dropping them in. Just line them up and wait for the next one to go, move out of the way, and then you just drop it simply. Do not lower it all the way down onto these, because again, it will try and grab the bale when it's on the crane, and the crane will try and win, and this will like get all out of line. I like to put this in the second bay here and not directly to it, again for the overflow protection sort of thing I got going on here, because honestly, you have this whole space to put bales into, and this will hold 2 of the trucks worth. I only put one at a time, that way I'm not sitting here trying to fidget around putting a second row in here. And one entire truck takes a little bit to go through the Primos 5000 anyways. So yeah, this is how I do it. If you have any mod requests or tutorial requests on anything, there are several things that I know how to do and have done, and certain ways I do things that I haven't really seen anything on YouTube. So yeah, subscribe, like, and please share. Try and get my channel up and running. Yeah, signing off.